Hi, kindergarten families. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the phoneme segmenting work that I sent home. I usually send home, so there's a letter that went home that looks like this, and I usually send home the letter sound fluency. We do that every month, and I apologize for whatever reason my video is a little blurry today, but you can go ahead and read this letter. It tells you a lot about why these fluency sheets are important. So I'll tell you a little bit, but fluency is the ability to read easily and accurately. So that's what we want all students to have. We want them to read easily and accurately because once they can read easily and accurately, they're able to comprehend text. So for kindergarten students, I don't expect much comprehension off what they're reading, more so off what I read to them. So, how to build that fluency for your student while you're at home and they don't have me to build it with them in the classroom? The most important things you can do with them are their letter sound fluency sheet for each month and now their phoneme segmenting. These things will help them become quick and accurate with all their foundational reading skills. So you see me do a little bit of this in class with them, but it's kind of up to you to really kind of get those extra reps and extra practice in so that they can get really, really, really great at this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this phoneme segmentation sheet. So with the letter sound sheet, you show your student the letters. With this sheet, this is a guide for you. So you're going to be doing this verbally with your student. They're not actually going to take a look at this list for a few reasons. First of all, they can't blend any of these words, and the purpose of them is not to read the word. I don't want to see if they can read these words. I want to see if they can hear the sounds within the words. That is a phoneme awareness skill. Phonemic awareness is what we call it. How aware is your child of different phonemes, different sounds in reading? This is a very important foundational skill for a student to become a really good reader. So we're going to help them become aware of the sounds. So this is how you're going to do that. When you sit your child down, you can practice these first without timing and just kind of teach them. You can use this as a teaching guide. So for example, you could say the word is play. And if you notice they're having trouble, you're going to tell them when I say play, you should say p-l-a-y. Play, p-l-a-y. Okay? When I say hid, you say h-i-d. H-i-d. When I say boo, you say b-oo. B-oo. What you're reminding them to do is tell you the sounds they hear in the word. So what I've seen a lot of them do since we're on this virtual is I count with them the sounds. What I'm starting to see them do is they're starting to rely on the number. So they're starting to say, oh, there's 2 or there's 3 or there's 4. That's a great observation, but that's actually not the point of the skill. So I'm trying to break them of that right now. But it's sometimes hard to do when they're muted. So that's where I need your help. So when you're teaching them this, go ahead and give them a word and then just tell them what you want to hear. That's part of teaching. Sometimes when we're helping students, we ask them a question and we expect the answer without giving them the answer first. So the most important part of teaching is to tell them the answer, to give them that practice so that when they're quizzed and drilled, they then know it. So feel free to go through this list and give them the answers. That's not cheating or anything like that. That's just prepping them and helping them for future learning so that they're building that memory, building that brain exercise. So I'd suggest just practicing these words first. Then when you want to kind of test them or check their knowledge, follow the directions right down here at the bottom of the page. You're going to go ahead and get out a timer. You can use the timer that I put on the letter sound fluency slides or the timer that I upload along with this video to help you. Or you can use your cell phone, whatever you want for 1 minute, but I'd strongly suggest using an actual counting timer rather than a clock because it's going to be a little bit more accurate. Don't tell your student you're timing them at first unless they know and they're excited about it. So I usually wait to tell them until they're really comfortable and say, wow, you got this many in 1 minute. Look at you go. You got 3 in 1 minute. Even if it's only 3, make a really big party for them. Let's see if next time you can get 1 more or 2 more. Something simple and achievable for them so that they can feel success and that they feel like they're doing great at what they're doing. That's the key. The kiddos need to feel like they are amazing because they are. These are all amazing things. So we want to make sure that they feel that celebration of their learning. So when you test them, set the timer, give them the word. And when you're testing, this is where you don't want to tell them the sounds. So for example, you'd have a pen ready and you'd say, your word is play. What do you hear in play? You don't even need to use that verbiage every time, but when you're first starting out, you might want to. Say the student says, p-oo, p-oo. You're not going to give them a 0. You're going to give them 2 because they did hear 2 out of the 4 sounds. They heard p and oo. Or some of them will say pool A, pool A. So that counts too because they are still hearing 2 sounds, okay? Even if they're not the correct breaking up of the sounds. So then for here, if you say your word is hid, if they tell you 3 sounds, that's 0 points. They need to tell you what sounds are in the word. They need to say back to you, id, okay? And don't be afraid to score them 0, okay? Because this is just between you and your learner and me. And that's going to just be a guide for you like, oh, last time they didn't say the sound, so that it will prompt you to remind them of that word. Because when we're checking them on state testing, then they're more confident. They know exactly what they're doing. So just so that we can use this as a guide to help later. So for example, if you give them the word boo and they say ba-oo, ba-oo, perfect, 2 sounds, 2 out of 2. Sometimes I'll see on this one, your word is shirt, and I'll hear them say skirt, skirt. So they'll say s instead of sh. I don't count that because they need to say the sh, okay? So then it would be 2 out of 3, something like that, okay? So if there's a sound together like that, sh, you want to hear that whole sound, sh, not the s, okay? Because technically they're missing that digraph. They don't need to know the verbiage is a digraph. You just want to hear that they're putting those sounds together, okay? And then down here with words like this, usually the 3-letter words, 3 sound words, they'll get those right on target because those are simple for them. It's when we start to get in blends or digraphs and blends that are broken apart like that it gets a little bit more tricky. Or sometimes with the double E, says E if they know the spelling. That's why I don't like to tell them the word, because if they know that knee is spelled Knee, they're going to want to tell you there's 4 sounds in knee. So that's why it's more important to not write the word and just tell them so they can focus on what they hear rather than on what they see. All right. Well, thank you so much for your help, families. Please reach out and let me know if you have any questions about this. I would love to see a picture of how they scored. You can write the total down here. You can make more than one copy of this, or you can kind of go ahead and do more than one tracking like that, okay, if you want to track multiple times. There's a few ways to do it. So again, thank you so much for your help. Let me know if you have questions, and good luck helping out your learner.